Hi, I'm John and welcome back to my Lair of Action Figures. Today I'm going to be reviewing and unboxing these figures over here, and these are of course Marvel Legends. Now this is going to be the first video I'm going to do about Marvel Legends. I normally don't purchase any of these figures, but due to the fact that it's the Punisher and I'm a huge fan of the Punisher, that's why I decided to purchase this box. Now not only this is from the Gamerverse, so of course, growing up in the 80s, we used to go to the arcade machines, especially when I was going to visit my family in the UK. So of course, in Switzerland, well, you had to be 18 to go and play in this kind of places, so that was not very good, and it was really hard for us to go and play. So we were taking advantage of going to play with some friends if we were going into the UK, so to go and have a check out and play with the games over there because there was no restriction of age. So of course I did play this video game when it came out, and yeah, I really liked the video game. This is from Capcom. The video game came out in 1993, and it's a shoot them up, so you can be playing the Punisher or you can play Nick Fury. You know who I was playing, of course, the Punisher, because yeah, great character, love the comic books, and if you've seen, I have done a review of Frank Castle from the Netflix show from Hot Toys, and talked about a bit some of the comics that I have. So of course, without further ado, we're going to have a look at the package. Again, we're going to be it's going to be just a basic packaging over here. Not much to see. Of course, over here you have some art for Nick Fury. Over here you will have the Punisher. And if you flip over, then you have the impression that you're in the video game, and then you should press which figure you want to play with. So I do have the vibes of him being very muscular, and the way he's drawn reminds me a bit of Mike Zeck, and the head does remind me of the Jim Lee Punisher War Journal. So yeah, this is something that I really enjoy. So now that we have had a look at the box, of course, I don't need to explain you that I am a huge fan of the box, because it's a blister and not one of those stupid boxes that we get with nothing to be seen. So most of the stuff you get, and also there's something that's pretty cool behind over here. Going to be taking this. The box I don't need, the little blah blah stuff don't need either. But if you see, this is a render of how the game looks. So if you want to put it up on your shelf and have your two figures interact in this screen, this could work as a little diorama, if you want to call it like this. So here are our guys over here, and we're going to be taking a closer look at them. So of course, there's some cool stuff going around, because we get plenty of guns, plenty of hands. We get some also an explosion effect, who's not too bad. We get, like I said, some extra hands. Of course, the right hands are going to be a bit harder to use. Two head sculpt for the Punisher, that's cool. Baseball bat, the Uzi, can't remember what's the name of it. We have two M16s, we have a pistol. Of course, this is Nick Fury. Pistol, that is a bit of a shield version of it, and I'm going to be starting by unboxing these guys over here. So here we have, of course, Nick Fury, we have the hands. So what's the cool part about it also is, due to the fact that these are compatible with the G.I. Joe Classified series, this gives me the possibility to reuse a lot of bits and pieces to go with my classified figures. So getting two M16s, Uzi, a pistol, so yeah, all of that is great stuff to go with. Like I said, the G.I. Joe Classified. Same goes for the explosion over here. It was a pretty neat thing. We're going to have a closer look at it afterwards. The M16s remind me a bit the ones that I already got with a set that I purchased in clearance, who was the Executor and what's her name, Hella, because she also came. I paid it a few dollars, Canadian dollars. It was really something in clearance, and I just picked it up to get the machine guns, because I didn't really care about the character itself. Then they have this cool little accessory. This is something that I talked about when I was watching the video, and making the video for this figures, because I did talk about it. I think it's in this week in action figure news, and I like the little accessories like this. These are accessories that I would love to see a bit more with, how do you call it, with G.I. Joe figures, because this could be pretty nice to have around Cobra or even around Destro. Would make a lot of sense. When I'm looking at it, I'm kind of astonished. We're going to have a closer look at all of that, but I'm kind of extremely surprised by the lack of details on certain of these weapons, who should be technically the same ones that we have with, what's the name of it, with the G.I. Joe Classified series. So this is something a bit weird. So we're going to have a closer look at that. Then unboxing the last parts about it. As you can see, a lot of scotch tape to be removed. I'm going a bit fast, so to get these out. And without forgetting the grenade, there's a nice little add-on. And here we are. So this is everything that you get in this box. Now let's have a closer look at this. So I just sorted it out to make it a bit look easier and easier to access. So of course we're going to be starting by Nick Fury. I'm going to start by the less interesting character that we have over here. Of course we do have a pretty good head sculpt on the figure itself. I could use it as a Major Blood also, but due to the fact that it has an eye patch, could work also. As you can see, basic figure. You could remove also the head sculpt and maybe use it to do a custom G.I. Joe figure. With that also could work, because there's nothing really on the figure itself showing you him to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, this figure could work as a kit bash to make some kind of G.I. Joe. Maybe let's say make a Colonel Hawk or another version of General Hawk, due to the fact the holster over here. Yeah, so I do like this figure. I think they did a pretty good job. Head sculpt is really nice, as you can see. Painting of the head and the hair really looks good. The rest of the gear is pretty neat. Again, not going to talk about the articulation, because these are exactly the same ones as you get with the G.I. Joe Classified. But again, this can make for an interesting custom. Afterwards, of course, we're going to be talking about the hands. So, of course, we have 4 hands. We have a hand with a bit of a grip. This one we already have seen in the G.I. Joe Classified. We're getting fists. It makes sense because it's a beat-them-up game. So, of course, you will have fist, and then you will have the 2-point fingers pointing, with also a nice accessory. So, if you have some G.I. Joes who had some missing in the retro line that have the missing fist, you can use also these hands with the G.I. Joes. So, continuing, let's go with some more of these accessories. So, over here we have the baseball bat. Baseball bat is pretty basic, nothing much on it, but it's a nice little add-on if you want to put it in a diorama. The fact of getting a grenade, it's a bit simple. Looks a bit big compared to the figures itself, but it's a nice little add to the party. So here is our little explosion. So yeah, it's pretty basic again. They should put this transparent orange, and inside you should have a bit of plastic to make it the white effect, so you have the impression that there's a bit of smoke inside and gives it a bit some contrast. It's an interesting add-on to all the other ones that you get with the G.I. Joe Classified figures. Afterwards we have 2 M16s over here. This is a nice little add-on. So with the lights you're not going to see, but there's a difference between these M16. There's one who's totally black and one who is grey. So I guess the grey one, due to the fact that the weapons with the Punisher seem to be the grey ones. So I guess this one is for the Punisher, and of course this one must be for Nick Fury. So these weapons, nice add-on for the G.I. Joe Classified figures. Then we have Nick Fury's signature pistol from the comic books. So yeah, interesting item. Not really easy to use with G.I. Joe, but again, can replace it and put another pistol over here, because you can take the pistol of the Punisher, and this one will fit also in the holster, maybe not as the best, but it could work also, so always really interesting. Then one of the items that I was the most wanting was this, but I must say, compared to the video that Hasbro showed about it, I'm a bit disappointed by this case. It is pretty cheap, and the banknotes do feel a little bit smaller than what we got from the vibe that gets it. I'm not saying there's no details about it, and it's a nice little add-on. You could put this with, like I said, Destro or any Cobra running around, and G.I. Joe has to stop them. It's a nice little accessory that closes up, and I'm wondering if this is not even the same suitcase. I would have to have a look at it. I didn't think about taking it. The same suitcase that you get with Chuckles. So yeah, a bit disappointed. I was expecting something else, a bit bigger, but again, it's nice to have some little accessories to go with the G.I. Joe Classified. Now that I've finished with Nick Fury, let's jump onto the Punisher himself. So we have two head sculpts, one of him being a bit more mean and a bit more showing some teeth and being a bit more aggressive can work. Head sculpt looks pretty neat. Also looks like you could use it, and could maybe use it to put on some of the G.I. Joe figures, especially the 60th anniversary line of figures. If I wanted to make like a bit of a Special Force Punisher, that could work with it. So I have this head sculpt who looks pretty neat. Before jumping into the figure, I want to quickly do the pistol. So of course, these have already been used. This one has already came out with some other Hasbro, how do you call it, Marvel Legends. So this one is nothing new, but it's nice to have. I would be giving this to a Cobra Trooper or a Cobra Officer, could work pretty fine, or even to Destro, or even Firefly, could be a nice little add-on. Then afterwards, we have a bit of a, looks to be a 1911 pistol Colt. So yeah, nice little add-on to it. And then I was a bit scared about the Uzi, because the way it looked, I thought that this was filled up and it didn't look. So of course, compared to some of the G.I. Joe weapons, they hold better in, but as you can see, they do have this, how can we call it, this gummy effect, but a bit less. So again, nice to have a Uzi, extra Uzi to go around. Does feel a bit out of proportion, but as we didn't get a Uzi with low light, I could be putting it with low light. So yeah, it's an interesting idea. So of course, over here we do have exactly the same hands than we get with Nick Fury, but instead of being tan colored, they are of course white to match the Punisher. So of course we have pistol grips, we have the hand to grab, this one would go well to hold a grenade, and we also have the pointing fingers. So now let's have a look at our Punisher himself, and this is the look of the Punisher. So of course he has a light blue suit. Again, maybe not the most accurate. I think it was a bit darker in the video game, and was used to seeing it a bit darker. The figure itself looks nice, will look nice on a shelf and posing him around. I like the look of him. Super muscular, works for me. Also, like I said, with this kind of part over here, gives me a bit the vibe of the Mike Zeck figure way of drawing the his Punisher. So yeah, that works with the extra pouches all around. It's a pretty neat figure, and like I said, getting two head sculpts, as you can see over here, the head sculpt is pretty good. Gives me a bit of a vibe of Henry Cavill, a bit of a mix in there, but yeah, interesting head sculpt, and cannot wait to try it out on some of the G.I. Joes. Anyway, I'm going to be doing it when I'm going to give you my final thoughts about this set. I'm going to really let them have a look, and I'm going to check with the G.I. Joe weapons and give you all my final thoughts. As you can see, again, it's a basic Marvel Legend figure, and it's not the first time they're going to do a Punisher in this way, and I guess it's not the last time we will be seeing it. Anyway, so that's my part of this. Now let's jump into my final thoughts about these two figures. Do I like them? Do I think these are collectible items? Yes or no? And I will set them up and put them on the spinning table. And I'm going to also try out the possibility to mix it up with some of the G.I. Joes, and that would be also on the spinning table. So here is going to be my final thoughts about these figures. What do I think about them? What is my note out of 10 overall about this? And do I think that they are collectible item? Well, let's start by the collectible value. I would say this set does have a certain collectible value to it due to the fact that we have the Punisher, and the Punisher has a tendency of some kind of reason holding better up compared to some other figures. I'm not saying that it's a Spider-Man out there, but most of the time, like, I've liked picking up Punishers left and right, and I didn't miss out on some. And when I'm looking on the secondary market to purchase some, those figures have a tendency of holding really well the price and going up. So this is why I'm saying that this set should have a certain collectible value, even if it's a general release. Now, what do I think regarding my note out of 10? I think I'm going to start by the note because it makes a bit more sense. I'm going to be giving it an 8. I was hesitating between a 7, but I would say 8.7 out of 10 because there's a few issues that I have. So, of course, I like all the accessories that come with it. It makes sense. There's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of cool references to the video game. As you can see, I decided to take some Dreadnoks to put as bad guys and to make them interact like if we were playing the game. So yeah, there's some cool accessories. I'm very disappointed. This is why it gets 1 point less. The showcase, I think it's a bit ridiculous. I was expecting something way better when I had it. One of the bigger major points, and I should be ticking off 2 points for it, is when we're going to be coming back. As you can see, I have taken my G.I. Joe Classified 60th Anniversary Army guy, and yeah, well, as you can see, the Punisher head is on it. What you have to understand, the head doesn't fit in. The hole over here does not match the dimension on the neck, so you can't pop it in. So of course you could take a tool, a Dremel it out, make it a bit bigger so that the head would fit in the new neck. The only problem is, if I want to take this head, put it back on the Punisher, well, it's not going to work as well due to the fact that it's going to be too bad. So I'll have to take some putty paste, put it in, and try to do some mix mashing and slide it back in afterwards. So this is one huge problem. I will be touching more about it. You really don't want to miss out this video that I'm going to do, me talking to Lenny and Emily, not of course physically, but I'm making the video and I hope they will see it, because like we're at the beginning of 2026 and we're still in the period of the good resolutions for 2026. I hope they will listen and take note, because there is a lot of issues with G.I. Joe, and I do believe that the classified line is all over the place and they're not focusing and doing a proper job on doing it. I like the figures, there's some good stuff, don't get me wrong, but there's a few issues that I will be talking about. Anyway, let's get back to this set over here. So yeah, that's the reason why I should be giving it more of a 7, because the incompatibility between the heads is something that is very frustrating and annoying, and could be a lot of cost saving for Hasbro if they would start making necks and heads adaptable to all the kind of 6-inch figures. So let me know, do you agree with me? Did you purchase this set? Are you a fan of Nick Fury? Are you a fan of the Punisher? Do you like this kind of content? Let me know in the comment section. Let's start a conversation. So that's going to be it for my review of this set. If you like this kind of reviews, please leave a like, share, comment in the section. If you have any suggestions, leave them there also. Share the video, that helps a lot the channel. Also, you can go and check out my Facebook page if you want to see more pictures of these guys and other news and other pictures that I've taken. The links will be in the description. I also have an Instagram page, but that one is a little bit less used. Don't like the way that it goes, so that's why I'm not so much active on it. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!